This is the Kitsune clan, a group of sword enthusiasts who like cosplay, reenactment, and historical martial arts. If you have similar interests, feel welcomed.
Telescoping weapons are fun if you use them in shows because you can surprise people. In former times, telescoping weapon usually meant something made out of steel, and these steel weapons had some trouble with them. They were secured via friction, and overcoming the friction often meant using a hammer or hitting a small hole into the ground. Alternatively, if you are too careful when extending them, they would collapse. That's nothing that you would like to have in a self defense situation, and that's one of the reasons why telescoping weapons are not so easily used in self defense. Luckily, for shows, we have now alternatives, and that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about 3D printed weapons, like this neat little Naginata, or should we call it Konaginata, because of the shorter length. As you can see, it nicely extends, it can take some pressure, and you can swing it around like you would expect from a stick, so that's very nice. Next up, a Gideon from Seven Deadly Sins. Same principle, same durability. For the traders that agreed on it, I have linked them in the description box below if you're interested in getting such an item. Just to be clear, we bought all these objects we are using here and paid the normal price. The hammer and the Naginata come in several pieces that you have to glue together. The extending part is already fixed like that, that works well. The hammer is a bit tricky. If you grab it at the bottom, it would probably fall off the distal part. For the Naginata, that's not problematic, but if you hold the hammer properly, it performs very nicely. Also, if you swing it around, no problem. The balancing allows everything and it does not fall into pieces. Next up, a telescoping bow. No, it's not thought to be a double-sided laser sword. We just took it in the colors white and red to fit our kitsune pattern. The balancing here is a bit different. Most of the weight is just in the center, but as you see, you can also swing it nicely around. When you get it in the box, there are two pieces that you just screw together, and then the thing is already functional. It can take some pressure, of course, you should not strike too hard, but for some simple exercises, it's very well made. I bought these items in order to have something to play around with when I'm on holidays and traveling around, and I cannot take a long pole arm weapon with me. And for that, they do the job. They don't take away a lot of space in your luggage, and they are also lightweight, so no problem from that side. Hence, for some travel exercises or also for shows, these are perfect gimmicks. I would not suggest to use them in a self-defense situation. Besides, from the surprise effect, there's not much to gain from it. By the way, just like the steel telescoping weapons, all the examples here were friction fixed. Yet, we did not have an instance with the weapons so far to collapse them again. Sometimes you have to twist a bit back and forth, but you don't need a hammer. Next up, after the bow, is a telescoping katana. There are a lot of them on the market, and this one really feels nice. Balancing is interesting, overall length is interesting, and as you see, it can take some pressure, so technical training with sword fighting is possible. This one was printed from the EU from a small shop via Etsy. You can, of course, also get katanas, collapsing katanas on Amazon, but they have trouble with their friction folding because you have to strike quite hard sometimes to have them collapsing again. That, of course, leads to little cracks here and there. As you see, they are still functional, but it's not the same fun as with the other katana we were just showing. Is it worth trying anyway? Yes, definitely. These things are really cheap, just a few euro. So why not? Next up, something non-telescoping, but I really like it. And you see it already, it's from Thundercats. What could it be? Oh yeah, Sword of Omen. Activate, sight beyond sight. Great thingy. Comes from a small Etsy shop. You have to glue it together. Like the handle comes in 3 pieces and the blade in 3 pieces. And you have little connectors to glue them together. The black part I painted, the red and white come printed like that. For a 3D printed plastic weapon that is glued together, this thing is ridiculously cool. And if you always wanted to own one of these swords, that's the cheapest way to get them. Hope we could inspire you. See you around next time.